Have a Generac 27 horsepower on my 2008 Dixie chopper. New 2 seasons ago. Took in for service this spring, got it back. Few weeks later went to start it.
Do you have fuel in the tank? If so, is the shut-off valve open and the fuel clean?
Sorry, sent premature. Wouldn't start, battery was dead. 4 seasons on the battery. Kept it on a battery tender over winter. Guessed it had run its life. Got a new battery and started fine. After mow, sat 3 weeks, went to start and no response. Battery would not read anything. Completely dead. Took some time for the battery to register on charger set on the jump setting. Ended up bringing back to functional, started fine and mowed several hours. Figured something was pulling power. Here's where my issue begins. Multimetered while off. Read point 1, so quick estimate indicated 3-month capacity on a 20Ah battery. Went through the electrical and checked the connections one by one. Unplugged the connection, checked, plugged back in and so forth. Nothing aggressive, just trying to see if any obvious issues. Found none. Went to start and failed. Figured I flooded it. Took the plugs out to both test the spark and purge the chambers. No spark. Arg. Good fuel. Fuel filter is full. Plugs are wet when I take out to inspect. I'll send more details next.
Do you plan on doing the work yourself?
Don't know. Not sure what I'm doing. Should be easy. There's a heatsink type thing on the block. 4 paddles connect with a wire harness. 2 white, a red and a black. The 2 white I think branch to the plugs, the red to the starter, and the black into the oblivion of other wires. I'd guess that connects to some safety stuff and may be preventing spark. BTW, new plugs installed this spring.
Anything else we should know to help you best?
Is this something I have a chance with, or should I load it for repair? Just checking back. It's been about an hour. No hurry, just following up in case I've been lost in queue. Thank you.
Hi, my name is will be assisting you. My first thought is that you have a fuse blown in the charging system that is causing the battery to run down after running for a while. This fuse is normally located on the left side of the engine if you are standing behind the machine, near the oil dipstick. The heatsink that you are referring to is actually the regulator/rectifier for the charging system. The white wires go back to the alternator under the flywheel, the black wire should be a ground and the red wire does in fact go back to the battery or could be to the starter which then goes back to the battery. If you need additional assistance, feel free to continue our conversation here. Thank you for choosing to use our services. Please take a moment to rate your experience using the star rating system that is provided for you.
Thank you. Had seen and checked the fuses. Looked good. See attachments for confirmation. 16 shows continuity of first fuse. 17 shows fuse placement. 19 shows continuity of second fuse. 20 shows second fuse location. After confirming fuses, tried spark. Failed.
In 16 your meter shows all zeros, is that correct? If that is correct, then that fuse is blown or bad. Problem with that is that even if a fuse is bad, it would not cause spark problems to the plugs. It could cause the engine to not crank over, or it could cause the charging system to not work, but it would not cause a no spark condition on plugs.
Sorry, my fault, not on the same page. Explaining to my wife, she saw the disconnect. Yes, I have a problem with my electrical. Not too concerned about that because I can keep the battery on a charger when not in use. Shop can work on that during yearly maintenance. I need help with it not starting because on no spark. How do I start on that issue? Additionally, plugs were new in May. Multimeter probably can't test those, I guess. How do I confirm they are good? I'm pretty sure they are not the issue. Alright, plugs are good. Took them out of Dixie and placed them in another pull-start small engine. Baseline the effect of the small engine's plug. Same blue arch effect on Dixie's plugs as the small engines. It now seems like the issue is with either the red, 2 whites or black wire connected to the regulator/rectifier. What next? To the shop.
The wires going to the regulator/rectifier will not cause you an issue with starting, they are only there for the charging system. Is the engine cranking, spinning over when you attempt to start it? You have spark to both of the plugs?
Engine spinning. Just not starting. Yes. Spark on both plugs. Does a new wiring harness, part 500,052, https://www.dixiechopperpartsdistributors.com/50052 Dixie Chopper Generac 33 horsepower wiring harness, basically rewire the whole thing. Is this something to consider? Talked to a shop today. They said Dixie's electrical were a bear to work with. Would a wiring harness just alleviate a lot of pain?
So, the engine is cranking over, you have good spark to the plugs. I don't believe that a wiring harness is going to fix anything based on what you are telling me. I believe that you have another issue with the engine, possibly valve train, based on the information that you are giving me. If the engine is cranking, then the wiring harness has to be okay. The charging system would be a completely separated issue because the charging system has absolutely nothing to do with whether the engine will start and run or not. It is only there to recharge the battery and keep it charged while the machine is running. If you have spark to the plugs, then my next step would be to put a little fuel directly into the intake on the engine and try to start it. If the engine then will start and run for even just a few seconds, then we can continue from there.
Again, my bad. Yes. Both plugs spark. Meaning, I put them in another small pull-start engine to test and validate. Then, no, neither plug spark when introduced back to Dixie's wiring. BTW, I really appreciate your help. Just a quick mid-issue thank you.
Okay. So the next thing that I would try is to unplug the ground or kill wire from the ignition coils and see if you have spark then.
Will do. I'll need to try that this evening after work. Quick question. Is it easy to explain how to do that? I can find out with research, but if it's easy to describe. Thank you.
The ignition coils will have a small normally black wire that is plugged onto a spade terminal on the coil. This wire is the ground. Just unplug it and then crank the engine and check for spark.
Okay.
Let me know what you find later. I will be away later this evening for a while, but I will respond back to you as quickly as I can.
If you have a home improvement or appliance question and want to chat with an expert now, visit justanswer.com/YTHI.